In today's video, I'm going to do some revision for Year 11, and it's for Unit 1, which is the challenges of an urbanised world. So I think it's the third section in Unit 1 for GCSE Edexcel. So what this is about, challenges of an urbanised world, is cities essentially. The whole unit, or the whole topic in the unit, is about cities. So I'm going to run through the first three kind of double pages in the Edexcel textbook, which is the textbook, the green textbook with the leopard on the world. And I'm going to run through some of the case studies. It's quite case study heavy, so I know that some of you are having a few issues knowing what case studies to use for what, and what the case studies mean and what each section is showing. So I'm just going to run through the first three sections, and hopefully we'll make it a lot clearer which case studies you can use. Not specifically the ones that are in the textbook. You can use ones that are in the revision books, as long as you cover kind of low-income countries, middle and high-income countries in terms of cities and how cities are different around the world. So to start with, one of the first questions that were asked at the start of the unit is about why cities are growing. So as you know, growing cities are a product of urbanisation. So the world is increasingly urbanised, with just over 50% of people in the world living in cities. And we're looking at why these cities might grow. And we're going to start with lower income country cities. And here, the urban poor are moving to the cities in search of a better quality of life, more jobs, better opportunities, better services, lots and lots of things that you know already about why people migrate from rural to urban areas. So a lot of people in low income countries are moving to cities for better job opportunities, etc. So that's one reason. In higher income countries, there's lots of different types of migrants, and we get elite migrants, which are those highly skilled, highly qualified migrants that we also use in Unit 2. If you remember, when we look at UK cities and we look at London, we can see that elite migrants come to the UK from all over the world for good jobs and well-paid jobs. But you also get a lot of low-skilled migrants as well, who are in the service sector, etc. So cities in richer countries attract all kinds of migrants from high to low skill. So that's another reason why cities grow. So a couple of definitions here. We've got a megacity, which we need to remember is a city that's got 10 million plus. And in your textbooks, you've got lots of examples of these cities. You've got London, you've got New York, you've got New Delhi, you've got Shanghai, you've got Mumbai, lots and lots of cities there. And the second definition that we need to remember is a world city, what a world city is. Now, London is a world city. And the definition of a world city is a city that has influence all over the world. So London has influence all over the world for three major reasons. So if we get a question on this, we've got lots of points to make. So first of all, these world cities are often financial centres. So London has the London stock market, it's got lots of banks, it's got lots of financial institutions, lots of insurance companies, etc. Canary Wharf has all of these companies working there. So it has a lot of influence over the world in terms of finance. The second is that lots and lots of people are attracted to London for business, whether they're living here or just coming here for meetings. And London is a hub for moving out and getting to lots of other places in the world as well. And air traffic, it's the busiest airport in the world, Heathrow. And last year, the three London airports, there was 120 million plus passengers that travelled in and out of those airports. And thirdly, world cities are important for world decision making. And we can see in London we've got lots and lots of TNC headquarters located here, around the city, around Canary Wharf, like we said before, and they're located here. So that gives London really, really big importance. So three reasons why world cities can influence the world. So the next two sections are looking at different elements of cities. And number two is urban change and how cities, so what this is getting at is how cities change over time. If you remember, in the next couple of sections on, we've got quite a big case study on New York and how New York grew, and then how it shrunk again and how it continued to grow. So we're looking at urban change with these three case studies and how cities grow and shrink. So the first one we're going to look at is a low or a middle income country. Now these around the world are the places where there are most growth. There is most growth in low-income countries and middle-income country cities. It's got an increased population. And that's due to the growth of manufacturing. As we know, we've got the global shift of manufacturing from richer countries to poorer countries. We've got TNC investment, FDI investment in lots of these cities. So that's why we have got a massive growth in rural to urban populations within these cities. So low and middle income countries, the urban change we see here is an increase in population as people move from the countryside into the city for a better quality of life, for more jobs, better opportunities, all those things that you know already. The second area that we can see is high income countries, and they're also lots of high income country cities are also seeing large increases in population. New York and London would be two good examples of this. And this is because TNCs also invest here. And as we also hopefully know from Unit 2, from looking at London, that TNCs invest here, and they invest lots and lots of money into things called the new economy, if you remember. Now, the new economy is not manufacturing and primary jobs, they're tertiary jobs and they're quaternary jobs. So those TNCs bring with them high value jobs and high skilled jobs. So what we've got here is we've got the new economy and the knowledge economy, if you remember, that's growing in places like London, and we've got lots and lots of jobs. There's also obviously lots of jobs in the service sector because lots of people will spend their money. So we've got lots of people employed in shops and offices and lots of other places as well. So these can be lower skilled jobs. So this is why high income country cities like London and New York, they see an increase in population. Now, the third one that I've put here is also high income countries, and cities within these areas can also see a decline. And I put lots and lots of down arrows, and the population can decline as well as increase, as we've seen with the other two examples. Now, this is due to, like I said before, the global shift, the decline in manufacturing. And we know that manufacturing has moved from high income countries to lower income countries because wages are lower, land is lower, health and safety regulations are more lax, etc. So we've got this manufacturing move to Asia. And this causes deindustrialization, if you remember. And deindustrialization leads to a spiral of decline and closure of lots and lots of manufacturing jobs that were there in like the 1980s and 90s in the UK. And the examples that we have in the textbook is Detroit, which is in the United States. We could also use Liverpool, which I've used with my class. And I think the textbook has also got Leicester in it as well. And so we've got these three places where we can see these cities have declined. So this double page spread is about urban change. It's about why some urban areas grow and why other urban areas don't grow and decline. So we've got high income country example of growth, we've got a low and middle income country example of growth, and then we've also got a high income country example of decline. So that is what this section is about, and that's what those case studies are about. They're about urban change, changes in urban areas, whether it's positive or negative. Right, the third aspect that we're going to look at is the next double page in your textbook, and that is that within these urban economies and within these urban areas, economies are different. Different things happen, different jobs are available in different places. So this is what these three case studies are about. And I'm just going to run through the three that we use in the textbook, but any of the revision books, as long as you cover low, middle and high, it doesn't really matter which case studies you use, as long as you've got an example from each one. So we're looking at urban economies. So we're going to start in low income countries. And the example that's in the book is Kampala, which is in Uganda, which is in Africa. And we can see that many people are employed in the informal sector in low-income countries. Now, if you remember, the informal sector is where people do jobs such as street vending. They might sell food in the street. They might sell along a road. They might sell things there. They might sell in small places, etc. But they don't pay the government money. So lots and lots of people are employed here, and that's because we have huge amounts of people coming from the rural areas to the urban areas, and there are not enough jobs, so these people have to make a living. There is some manufacturing in these poorer cities and some services, but the country is mostly employed in agriculture, so manufacturing hasn't quite taken off yet within these poorer countries, especially maybe in sub-Saharan Africa, but lots of people are moving to the cities because opportunities are arising and they can make a lot more money in the city than maybe they can in agriculture in their rural villages where they were originally from. So that is our low income country example. Next, we've got our middle income country, or our emerging country, remember, or emerging city. Now remember, emerging city will be somewhere like in China or India because they're emerging economies. And the two examples here, in the book we've got New Delhi, but we can use Mumbai because that's still an emerging city. So here the informal sector is still happening because we've got huge amounts, remember, of low-skilled migrants coming to the city, looking for job opportunities. They can't find them, so they end up working in the informal sector. However, these cities also have an increased amount of people employed in the service industry and in manufacturing. And we know that lots and lots of TNCs of different types invest in places like Mumbai and New Delhi. And the two examples I've got here are in the service sector. We've got lots of call centres, which are higher skilled jobs and better pay. And we've also got manufacturing here as well, which would be lower skill and lower pay, but still employ lots and lots of people. So the economy is quite different in an emerging nation as it is in a poorer country and a less developed country. So mostly informal, quite a few informal, but lots and lots of manufacturing and services here as well. Now, the final example is the high income country. And in the textbook, I think it talks about New York, but we can use London as well because maybe it's more relevant to us and we know more about it. And here we still have some people employed in the informal sector, but these will tend to be kind of cash in hand jobs, which you might have heard of, where people are working maybe in the building industry, where it's less regulated and people do kind of shift work and work some days and not other days, and it's quite hard to regulate. Or self-employed people sometimes don't always declare their tax, etc. So these are informal jobs. So they still occur in high-income country cities. However, most people within the UK are in cities anyway, are employed in the service sector. Now these can be lower skilled service sector jobs, like we said before, in shops and offices and other places. But also remember, we can also talk about the new economy or the knowledge economy here as well. And there's lots and lots of jobs within big cities, especially in mega cities or in world cities, where we have highly skilled elite people working in jobs in finance, in TNCs, in banking, in IT, etc. So we've got quite a lot of high skilled and high pay here within London and New York. So just to recap, low pay, low skill and quite a lot of informal jobs in poorer countries like Kampala. Still informal, but quite a lot of manufacturing jobs and maybe some call centres, etc. and IT related jobs in emerging cities such as New Delhi and Mumbai. And still some informal jobs, but not that many, and lots of services and the new and the knowledge economy in places like London and New York. So hopefully that will give you a good background to the start of this unit on cities, and then the subsequent videos that I will post will be on the case studies, which is New York and India and Mumbai.